Hey guys, it's Lisa with the Salesvision 100 video challenge, and it's, I believe, day 16 of the video challenge. I want to remind you that if you want to be part of this 100-day video challenge, in which if you don't make a sale within the 100 consecutive days of videos, then our president at Salesvision, Vincent Ortega Jr., will pay you $100. And to be part of Salesvision, it's free to join. In the link below, you can sign up for a free account. But to be actually part of the video challenge, you will want to become at the apprentice level, which is $7. And it does come with a 30-day money back guarantee. So, I mean, if you decide you really don't like it and within 30 days, then you can get that $7 back. So, no risk. Today, I wanted to just give a few suggestions for how to deal with perfectionism and, in turn, procrastination. We've been talking about that for a couple of days. For me, it's been a big issue, and it still is. It might always be, but in order to get work done and to be productive, I have to to a certain extent, be able to deal with that perfectionism and of course the procrastination that goes along with it, or I won't get things done. When you have your own business, you need to make decisions and you need to get work done and get it out there and not wait for it to be perfect. So a few suggestions that tend to be beneficial, that I have tried and have worked for me, and some have been suggested. And I'd be curious to know if any of you have any tips for dealing with perfectionism and procrastination. Firstly, is to make a cost benefit analysis. In other words, to weigh the pros and cons of your perfectionism and the resulting procrastination. In the past, when your work has been affected by your perfectionist thoughts, what benefits came from not doing the work, for example, or not submitting something. It might have been a reduction in anxiety and fear, might have been a positive, but the negative was you missed out on an important opportunity or an important job, or you didn't meet a deadline. So you want to make a cost benefit analysis so you can see in reality what your perfectionist tendencies are causing in your life, what problems they're causing, and what the benefits are. I mean, obviously, there is a payoff to being a perfectionist and to procrastinating, or you wouldn't do it. So there are benefits that you perceive that you are getting by continuing that behavior. But realistically, when you evaluate it, you know there's also costs involved. So do a cost benefit analysis, the pros and cons, and see realistically, rationally, is it really beneficial for you to continue that type of thinking? Also, you want to become aware of your tendencies. Start tracking when you have an assignment or in a relationship, or things where those perfectionist ideals come up, to be aware of what happens, and that kind of goes along with the cost benefit analysis. But record also your thoughts. What do you say to yourself? Do you tell yourself you're not good enough? Do you tell yourself, well, I'll get to it later? It maybe have some denial there. So become aware of your tendencies so you can address them. Also, you want to focus on the positive. Look at the things that you do well. When you're not happy with something, you feel it's not done, or it's not perfect, or it's not good enough, focus on what is good about it. I'm sure you can find some things good about it. Like, what would you say if somebody else, you were talking to them and you wanted to give them positive feedback? What would you pick out from that piece of work or that behavior that is positive? What would you bring out to that person that you were evaluating? Give yourself the benefit of at least, treating yourself as well as you would treat somebody else. Alter your self-talk is another suggestion, to actually come up with the things you say to yourself that are negative and come up with positive alternatives. This is also cognitive behavioral therapy, which is research has shown is effective for people that are really having problems with perfectionist thoughts, is to counter those negative self-talk statements. For instance, something like, I always do this wrong, or I can't actually think of an example right now, but like telling yourself that I can't pass this in, and it doesn't sound good enough or something like that, and change it with, it may not be perfect, but nobody's perfect, and I'll pass it in anyways and learn from my mistakes, or learn from criticism that I get from somebody. So you want to think of statements that you can say to yourself that will lead to a different result. Take baby steps is another suggestion. When you take baby steps, you're setting realistic bite-sized goals that you can achieve and meet without much stress and difficulty, instead of just thinking of the whole overwhelming task that you need to do, which can get you into that procrastination mode where you won't even start. So set little realistic goals. You have something you have to do. I'm going to write, step one would be, I'm going to, write an outline of what I want to do with this project. Step two would be to, do some research and take a page of notes on each part of the outline. Number three could be to bounce it off of someone else, ask somebody what they think of this idea. Instead of, write up a 10-page report to hand into my employer about, the work, the productivity rate of a certain department, or, in your work, instead of looking at the whole overwhelming task, like how am I going to get this done by such and such a date, break it into little steps, reasonable goals, and celebrate the small wins as you complete each step. Give yourself a pat on the back, or give yourself a small reward, something, something, get yourself some ice cream, or let yourself go shopping. Not now, of course, during the pandemic, but, give yourself permission for some reward for completing your small goals. Enjoy the process, which is a big one. Instead of thinking about the end goal and just working towards that end goal and getting it perfect and getting it in, enjoy the journey, the journey of learning, the journey of trial and error, and seeing what works and learning from mistakes and getting better. Enjoy the growth. Enjoy the progress. The whole process is the process is a longer journey than the day of the actual result. So even if you were just working towards that one result, that win is going to be short-lived, because something else will need to be done, and that'll be a process that you go through. You need to learn to enjoy the process, or I need to learn to enjoy the process. Learn to handle criticism is a big one, because in work and in life, you're always going to have criticism, and it's healthy. It's healthy to give and receive constructive criticism, worded in a tactful, positive way. One good way to give feedback to others, for example, if you're a perfectionist and you're evaluating somebody else that, you're not happy with their performance, always give a positive first. Tell them something they do well, or yourself. Tell yourself something that you do well, and give yourself a pat on the back for it. And then, but what could be better and what you could do to improve is blah, 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 blah. Learn from your mistakes and learn to handle self-criticism, put it in a positive way, and when others give you criticism, constructive criticism is helpful. It helps you to grow. It helps you to learn. Okay, we talked about set realistic goals, break up overwhelming tasks into small steps. Another one I didn't mention was focusing on one activity or task at a time. That's a big one for me, and that also has to do with procrastination. I tend to multitask and do like 10 things at once. Um, I'll be working on one project, and at the same time, I have, a class that I'm taking, and I'll switch to that for a little while, and, be cooking dinner at the same time, and catching up on my emails on another device. You know, Not only does that lead to more error and mistakes, but it just is overwhelming as a whole and will seem like you're not getting things done, and it's because you're doing so much. Whereas if you were just focused on one task and completed it, you would get more of a sense of satisfaction over that. Acknowledge that everyone, I'm sorry, my allergies are bothering me. Give me a second. Okay. Acknowledge that everyone makes mistakes. We're imperfect. We're not supposed to be perfect. So perfection is not a realistic ideal in the first place. And lastly, recognize that mistakes present learning opportunities. As an entrepreneur and working, creating your own business, you need to realize that failure is part of the process. And, the faster you fail, the faster you'll learn and be able to adjust the sales and, get to that end goal. We have to make mistakes to learn what works. We have to learn what doesn't work first. So that's it for today. Just a brief video to kind of wrap up what we've been talking about. And if you enjoyed this video, please put a comment below. Hit the like, thumbs up, or thumbs down, be honest. And if you have any constructive criticism for me, feel free to put it down below, or some positive feedback, and subscribe to my channel. Okay, I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. This is Lisa again with Salesvision 100 Video Challenge. Take care. Bye-bye. Love ya.